All right guys, welcome to another video. I'm Chris and today we are doing an oil change on a 2022 F250 7.3 liter Godzilla gasser. With all the hubbub about, lifter failures and stuff like that and delamination, all that yada yadas, we're going to discuss what you can do to try to protect yourself as best you can for your warranty. We're going to discuss that, and we're going to give a couple extra helpful tools that are going to make changing oil so much easier, especially one in particular. So we're going to get to it. All right guys, with all this hubbub and shenanigans about lifter failures and all that crap, even though it's a very small percentage, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself the best you can when you're doing your oil changes. And there's only really two ways to kind of go about it. You can either have the dealership do all your oil changes, so there's no argument whether they're the ones doing it, so they can't really, argue themselves that they did it wrong. If they did do it wrong, then they're, at fault. So, but if you choose to take number two and do it yourself, there's a few things that you can do to help protect yourself in the future. If something does happen, they can't hold you accountable for not using the right oil, the right filters, and that kind of mess. So we're going to talk about that real quick. We have the Motocraft 5W30 synthetic blend motor oil. This is the recommended motor oil for the 7.3 Godzilla engine. And the way you know this is the right recommended oil, if you go into the owner's manual, you will see that there is a recommendation for oil that meets a certain standard for Ford. And that is this number right here, WSS-M2C961-A1. And if you're using an oil that doesn't meet that standard, then technically, can they say, hey, this is your fault, you didn't use an oil that we told you should be using? And this is the filter that they will recommend and they ask you to use, is the FL82OS filter for the gasser Godzilla. Are there better motor oils out there? Probably gonna help your engine maybe last longer. Are there better filters out there? Probably yes. I would have to say that, Ford doesn't make the best oil and the best filters, but if you're using these things, there's no way that they can say that you're not doing this properly. An added precaution to protect yourself against any kind of warranty thing that might happen down the road with your lifters or any other aspect that they could blame on, not the right type of oil. Once again, that's that number right there. If you don't see it, they do have some synthetic blends that do not have that number on it. And if it's not, then it's not what's recommended in the owner's manual. This is what we're using today. This thing takes 8 quarts, and I'm going to leave all this stuff in the description area below, links to Amazon, so you can know where to buy it and to make sure you're getting the right stuff. And also with this filter, you can get those like generic filter wrenches and stuff like that that just kind of grip on. And one of the things that really helps out with this thing is getting a filter wrench that actually fits it. And that's what this is. And it just uses a 3/8 drive, and it fits perfectly on there and turns it so there's no slipping, and it comes right off, and you don't run it crushing the cans. I've had some of those oil filter wrenches just kind of bend or break on me and stuff, and so it's super easy. It's meant for this, and if you're driving a lot and you're gonna be doing a lot of oil changes, might as well just get one that fits for your oil filter. Also, we are going to install something. I'll leave that for just a minute, but we're going to install something that's going to help with your future oil changes, help with the cleanup, the mess, make everything so much quicker. And we'll get to that in a minute. All right guys, so when you go to change your oil, when you need to pull the plug, it's right here, and just need a 15mm wrench, and you just got to make sure you have an oil pan that'll hold at least 8 quarts. If you already did an oil change, and you got to be able to put 8 more quarts in there. So just remember that when you're factoring it in. So we're just gonna crack this open, and also good to have a bunch of oil racks too, because this never goes as well planned as it's supposed to. All right, see, I already made a mess. Oil all over the ground over here, wiping it up, just making a mess. Got a crap up here. All right, we'll just let that drain for a little while. And now we're just going to take our oil filter wrench, you know, that fits this one. Like I said, I have a link in the description area for the Amazon link for this, and you only use this to loosen it up. You don't tighten it, and just give it a couple of cranks to loosen it up, and it fits perfectly. And then take it off. And a good thing to do, I've never seen any studies one way or the other saying that you should or shouldn't preload your filter here. I tend to err on the side of caution, pre-fill the filter. Okay, now it's primed. You just make sure you know, like when I poured it on here, I got a little oil on the seal. Stick it back up in here and screw it back on, and you just go hand tight. All right, so this is the Fumoto valve for replacing your drain plug and your oil pan. And basically what this thing does is it just goes into place, and there's a valve that keeps closed. And so next time you got to do your oil change, all you have to do is open it. And we'll show you a little bit more about that in just a second. Okay, so this comes in 2 pieces, and it doesn't say anything about oiling the O-rings or anything like that. You're just supposed to clean the surface and then screw this on hand tight. Do it just by hand to make sure you don't cross thread it. And then once you get it in place, it says either tighten this down to 15 foot-pounds of torque if you have a torque wrench, or once it's hand tight, just give it 1/8 of a turn just to snug it down, and it should be good to go. Should be able to still swivel this, but I'm just going to leave it going straight down. But then all you have to do is pull this little plastic piece off, open that valve up, and oil will drain out. And it goes straight down instead of making a mess all over the place. No more unscrewing that. So basically the only thing you'll need is the oil wrench to loosen that up. So next time you go to change your oil, that Fumoto valve is going to save you a lot of time and mess, and so will this wrench. So like I said, I'll leave the Amazon links in the description area below. Your oil fill is on this side. Your dipstick to check it is on the other side. So you'll need a nice funnel, size funnel, to get it to fill it over here. All right, so we're just going to fill this sucker up, and this is 5 quarts minus what I put in the filter, and then we'll just use 3 quarts out of the other one. And so we need 3 quarts out of this one, so that's down to 2 quarts. So when it gets down to there, we'll leave that much in the bottom. That should be it. And if you want, you can just hold on to these, and when you do your next oil filter change, you can actually use the little tube. I'm going to link that in the description area below too, that hooks up to your Fumoto valve, and you can just drain straight into. You just put the tube in, let it rip, and it'll fill it up. You can shut it off when it gets full and swap it out with another one. All right, so now we're going to check the oil and just clean that off. As you can see, it's got those 2 little dots. It should be somewhere in between, probably like right in the middle of that. If you can see, it's right there, kind of at that higher end. You don't want it to be any higher than that, and you don't want it to be any lower than that. Right here's your safe area. And don't forget to put your cap back on. All right, guys, so that's the oil change on the 7.3 liter Godzilla. So that's going to be your best fighting chance against any kind of warranty issues and stuff like that. Just go by their recommendations, or do your own thing or whatever. I know it's going to be brought up in the comment area about like how often should you do it. That's kind of up to you. I'm going to be a little conservative. Some people say 5,000, some people say 7,500, some people say 10,000. I'm going to go somewhere between 5,000 and 75. So your oil reader gauge percentage thing is in your truck, so it'll let you know when you need to or you're getting close. So I let it go till it was down to about 39%, so I almost had 40% oil life left. So, and I did it a little over 6,000 miles. So I think that's pretty appropriate. I don't think anybody can really argue with that much. It's a synthetic blend. So, and another thing too is like, if you're worried about that Fumoto valve, like a O-ring or something going bad, or the valve opening up and you're losing your oil or whatever, you know, just keep this plug in your truck right in the door. And if anything were ever to happen, you can just Uber to a AutoZone, get your oil, and put this back in, and you're all set. Although I've never heard of anybody having any issues with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and all this equipment is going to be linked in the description area below. Like I said before, the oil, the filter, the wrench, the Fumoto valve, everything's going to be linked in the description area below. All right, hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks for coming along. I hope you got something out of this, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video.